started. Okay, we have Des Moines, Iowa City, Dubuque. Awesome. Okay, Minneapolis. Okay, everybody. Our live stream is now available on Facebook, so you can find the recording of today's discussion there right now and afterwards. Go share it with anybody who you think it will be relevant to, and it will also be on YouTube later today if you are not a Facebook user. Before I hand it over to Erin, I want to mention that the Iowa Farmers Union in Progress Iowa Writers Co-op is meeting on Tuesday. I believe that's July 1st at 9:30 a.m. So all are welcome. If you know of anybody who you think would like to join, even if you wouldn't, please let them know. And you can come and join us and begin shaping your story. There will be time to write and to talk about the writing. So Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Erin, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you.
Well, very good, Christine. And so many people are very excited about the Writers Co-op and some fantastic things happening there. So by all means, people should sign up. So welcome, everyone. This is the Iowa Farmers Union Lunch and Learn series. We are so grateful to be joined today by Joe Henry, State Political Director for the League of United Latin American Citizens, Iowa. So, Joe, we are really happy that you're with us today to share. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Really looking forward to this discussion. And we know that immigrants, undocumented immigrants, are being targeted by the administration. So we have a lot to worry about. We know that here in the Midwest, there was a recent raid in Omaha at a meatpacking plant, the Glen Valley Foods meatpacking plant in Omaha. About 80 people were arrested. This has not occurred in this proportion in Iowa at this point, but we do know that when people get pulled over for traffic violations, infractions, so forth, that people are being checked on their status. And if their status shows that they're undocumented, they are being taken to jail. And it has been very difficult for them to be able to get out of jail.
And
it's a very scary situation. So
well, Joe, this is we are so grateful you're here. There is so much happening right now. The timing of your visit with us is perfect. So thank you for being here. I'm going to make sure we do a couple of Farmers Union announcements before I forget, because there's a lot going on in the Farmers Union world as well, and I want to make sure people are aware of it. So a couple of things that in the Farmers Union announcements before we begin our discussion. This coming Saturday is Iowa Farmers Union Day at the iCubs game. That's June 29th at the Principal Park in Des Moines. Please reach out. There are still some extra tickets available past the original deadline here. So we would love to have you join us for some good conversations. Our National Farmers Union President, Rob LaRue, and our National Farmers Union Vice President, Jeff Kipley, will be in attendance as well. So we're going to have a good time with Farmers Union, with baseball, and some good conversation. I wanted to remind people that the Iowa Farmers Union Barn Party is set for July 26th in Elkhart. We are looking forward to seeing everyone there. Make sure you get signed up. We're going to have a good time with one another on July 26th. I also wanted to remind people that the Iowa State Fair is approaching, And we have a lot going on at the Iowa State Fair. The Iowa Farmers Union will have a booth every day in the agriculture building on the ground floor, just down the hall from the Butter Cow. Lots of great conversations going on about Iowa agriculture there. So join us there. But in addition to that, the Iowa Farmers Union is again a day of fair sponsor on the first Sunday of the Iowa State Fair. Of course, that's going to be August 10th. And we are so excited about this opportunity. There are tens of thousands of people who pass by the Iowa Farmers Union tent in front of the admin building that day. And we have all sorts of activities going on for everyone to have good conversations about farming in Iowa, about rural communities, about everyone working together to improve agriculture in Iowa. It's a great opportunity. You'll look for your in your inbox in the coming days. Check out your social media in coming days. We're going to be asking for people who can help us with this great effort, this great outreach effort, whether that is helping cover some of the costs for the fair, or whether it is volunteering at the fair. Learn all about it. So the Iowa State Fair is a great place to spread the word about the Iowa Farmers Union. I also wanted to remind people that our Farmers Union is helping sponsor a number of cancer listening sessions around the state of Iowa. Make sure you're checking your inbox, check the links in the chat to find out for where there is a cancer listening session near you. And I think that's it for our activities here. I want us to turn to our very important conversation today. And again, our guest is Joe Henry. He's the state political director for the League of United Latin American Citizens, Iowa. We know that Latino immigrants are such a crucial part of Iowa's agriculture workforce, whether that be in meatpacking or seed companies or dairy farms or pork operations and everything else as well. We have a very timely discussion today. We want to get an update on recent mass deportation efforts under the current administration, how this is in fact impacting Latino workers, how it's impacting families across Iowa, and how these crackdowns are creating fear and uncertainty in so many communities and create a lot of disturbance in rural Iowa and Iowa agriculture as well. So we are really happy that Joe is here at a very, very busy time doing fantastic and very important work. So all the more reason to be thankful for Joe's presence with us again and here today. So thank you again, Joe, for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Aaron. Yeah, I want to kind of give some stats, and I think a number of people that are on this Lunch and Learn will know this. But 42% of farm workers, according to a 2022 study, were undocumented. 42%. And then when we look at immigration in Iowa, 5.8% of the immigrants in Iowa, 5.8% of Iowa's population is from the immigrant community.
Wow.
So that is 187,254 immigrant residents. About 100,000 or a little bit more than that have been noted as being undocumented. So we see these undocumented immigrants playing such a crucial role in agriculture, which includes not only working on farms, dairies, and so forth, but also meat packing, where we have about 26,000 meat packing workers in 22 plants as of a couple years ago. So when we see what's happening since Trump got into office, we've seen these massive movements by ICE in key areas across the country. California, of course, being one of the major areas with the largest portion of undocumented immigrants. What happened in Omaha, when I just brought that up before, at the meatpacking plant there were about 80 people that were arrested at the Glen Valley Foods meatpacking plant. And I guess that's not surprising. Trump has indicated that he is going to go into Democratic strongholds
Mm.
across the country. Omaha had just elected a Democrat to be a mayor of that town. Tony Vargas, who had ran for Congress, almost won against an incumbent by the last name of Bacon, Congressman Bacon. And that's going to be a key area in the next presidential election because Omaha, in that district with that congressperson, gets to choose on the electoral voting independently of what, within Nebraska on who they
Right.
vote on a candidate. So we see all these things happening. Now in Iowa, it's been quiet. Nothing major has happened. But when we look at what's going on, the big umbrella organization, Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice, has been working in coalition with a number of organizations connected to the immigrant movement. So we've been monitoring things with the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice. So what we've seen here is that when people are pulled over for a traffic violation or infraction, or maybe going into a federal courthouse, they may get arrested by ICE and then taken to jail. That has happened ever so often in the state in the last 60 to 90 days. So that has been a concern. And we have volunteers across the state, Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice does, that are just kind of watching, observing what's happening in their local areas. Has anything happened as far as raids in meatpacking facilities or on farms, dairies, and so forth? We have not heard of that happening across the state. So it's been very quiet here. So clearly, again, what the Trump administration has stated, not only by Trump, but through Homeland Security, is that they're targeting Democratic cities.
Mm.
And that seems to be the main play out there. But that doesn't make things safe here in Iowa. So working with the immigrant community here, the undocumented immigrant community here, we have been providing information, providing them with ways in which to prepare if somebody comes knocking at their door, if they get arrested, to prepare them with legal documents to make sure that if they are arrested, that their children are taken care of, that if property is seized, that there's ways around that to take care of their property. And again, immigrants play a large part in agriculture here. And when we look at the amount of residents, $1.8 billion of taxes paid by the immigrant community overall, and many rural communities would not have made it, especially through the recession, without immigrant labor. So what do? We're doing what we can right now to prepare on the legal front, but more needs to be done. There have been demonstrations, there have been rallies, there have been different types of civic engagement. I think Iowans are trying to do their part to make sure that immigrants are protected, but more needs to be done. Because again, what's happening elsewhere, like in Omaha, can and will be happening here in Iowa. So we need to be prepared for that. And we hope that your organization, if not already, is part of the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice Coalition. So that's kind of it where it is right now. The only other thing I could tell you is that we look at 5.8% of the Iowa's population coming from the immigrant community. We also have to look at the Latino population, part of the immigrant community, but a very large part of the Latino community. We are US citizens, second, third, fourth generation. That's 6%. So Latinos in the immigrant community play a very large part in the economy here in Iowa. So that's kind of my beginning here, Aaron. So whatever questions we have out there, I'd like to help to answer those.
Sure. Well, let's encourage people to put their questions in the Q&A box, and we'll get to as many as we possibly can. Joe, you mentioned that Iowa is on alert and being very, very careful to watch for what raids might be happening. You mentioned uh, a facility in Omaha that had a large raid. How about other surrounding states? What are we hearing from other places in the Midwest, in addition to our friends to the west there?
Well, we know that there's, more activity in Minnesota, in Illinois. We know that. We know that some pretty stringent laws are being put in place also in Missouri. And of
Mm.
course, there was um, some legislation that was passed here in the Iowa legislature just recently, which makes it very difficult for people who want to help undocumented immigrants. And it in immigration, the fear has also been ginned up in many other ways when it comes to voting too. So we have legislation that has been enacted that now people, if questioned by by an election person, by a volunteer at a polling site on whether or not they're a U.S. citizen, now they have to provide proof of citizenship, a birth certificate, or some sort of naturalized citizen documentation. So immigration, the fear of undocumented immigrants, the fear of so forth and so on, has been used in many different ways, not just against the immigrant community, but for other things that have been an attack on democracy in our country.
Absolutely, Joe. That's very well put. One of the question asks, how do you see what's a good role for a farmer to play? How do you be in tune with how to protect your immigrant workers that you're working with, as they, you know, farmers are going to be highly impacted by the loss of labor and part of our farms, part of our communities. What would you say it's a good way for farmers to help and be aware of what they can do to help protect their partners and workers?
Yeah, that's a good question. So across the state, we have volunteers who are in coalition with the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice. So working with those volunteers, getting onto that website, which you have posted, to connect with them, to connect with me too, on to provide education to their labor folks on what to do, how to prepare, what needs to be done if somebody is arrested, especially when it comes to children, who can take care of the children. Is there somebody, friend, family member, coworker, so forth, that can be there if somebody gets arrested? And then the opportunity to have an attorney. That's very important to making sure that there are connections made with the attorneys. If, and many immigrants have properties. They
Mm.
own homes or they have other types of valuables that need to have documentations to make sure that that property is taken care of if they are arrested. Uh, you know, people
That's
own
very, yeah. That's so important, Joe. Thank you. Another question asked, uh, we hear of examples, both here in Iowa and around the country, of undocumented folks who work in agriculture, who are subject to real issues dealing with wages and being more susceptible to wage theft or intimidation if they complain of working conditions. Um, all this is happening at the same time with so much happening in our rural communities. Do we see workplace issues increase as we deal with all these issues in our community?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, those issues, wage theft, now, people from the immigrant community may be afraid to even report any violation of wage theft. Uh, so having that community of supporters is very, very important because we have people who are not only working in plants, but also working in the fields and
Yeah.
then working as subcontractors. So
Mhm.
having that support system locally is very important, connecting with
Yeah.
the and other supporters.
Well, very good. So, we have some people asking some questions. What happens during a raid? We do personnel from ICE need to provide IDs during a raid? Can the owner establishment um, set up some firewalls from an ICE entrance into their facility or onto their farm? You know, what should people be thinking about to protect themselves or their farm or their workplace?
Right.
Um,
Yes, it's a good question. And so, yes, there needs to be documentation. There needs to be, if a warrant is shown or stated, it needs to be more than what's called an administrative warrant. It needs to be a document that's signed by a judge in order for ICE to do any type of an arrest. And that should be asked for. If you are a farmer and if you have employees who are undocumented and you have somebody from ICE that's coming onto your land, you need to ask them, where is the signed written warrant?
okay,
Otherwise, you are not authorized to enter the premises. And again, connecting with local attorneys would be very important. And we do have, again, through Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice, we do have these calls that happen every week or two.
mm,
Important for them to get onto to ask those questions. And again, when you go to the website, the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice website, there is a whole list of attorneys that can be contacted to really
okay.
there and kind of inoculate yourself before something happens with ICE.
Well, very good. Well, make sure people are aware the Iowa Migrant Movement for Justice website is www.iowammj.org. Very easy. And all sorts of fantastic resources there. So that's super important. We had a question that asked, if they see activity, if some of our community members see ICE activity going on their farm or on their community or at their workplace, should they document it? Should they video it? Is that recommended for helping make sure the process can protect our friends who are the subject of these raids?
Yes, yes to all of those things. It should be
Okay.
documented, videotaped, so forth. And we do have a texting system, again, with IMMJ, where a number of us are communicating every day across the state about what's going on. I get texts on that about activity here in Des Moines. So it's very important that they become a part of that and
Hmm.
then document that information too.
Sure. Another question asks, if they do see an ICE agent in their community, will they be wearing plain clothes, masks, or are they identifiable? Should we ask for identification um, uh,
Right.
right off the start?
There are times where where they don't have any type of identification. Sometimes they wear vests that say police on it.
Okay.
And so that's something to be aware of is people in your community who you think are members of the police department wearing this vest that says police on it may actually be ICE officials. And they'll be in unmarked cars for the most part. So we have to be careful. Should you ask for documentation if you see somebody who appears to be a police officer but is spending time kind of trolling the area? Yes, of course. Ask. That's your right. So yes, we need that information, and we have to be careful. And we just never know whether they are going to kind of be hidden or just in a way that is not really clear that they are members of ICE.
Okay.
Also having conversations with your local law enforcement, with your sheriff or your chief of police, having those discussions, sitting down with your local law enforcement officials and just be upfront with them. Say, listen, are you working with ICE? What's going on? We know that certain jails across the state have now signed what is called a 287G agreement that allows ICE to use a number of those cells, those beds, for detention areas. So again, having those conversations with those county sheriffs and local law enforcement, finding out if they're actually doing any of that work with ICE.
Well, very good. We know that these raids have a direct impact in our community. What happens to folks in the Midwest who end up in facilities? Are they in the Midwest in detention facilities here? Or are they sent across to other parts of the country? It has tremendous impact on the families in our communities.
So we know that there are at least several county sheriffs that have signed on to these agreements across the state to be holding areas for those who they arrest who are undocumented immigrants. But we also know that people are being flown around the country and out of the country too. We've heard about El Salvador, and then we're hearing about another area over in Asia. So it's scary. This is a very, very scary time where somebody can be taken in the middle of the night and nobody will know because even the Supreme Court has moved in making decisions that even due process will not be provided to those who are considered undocumented. Now, even a farmer might be accused of being undocumented.
Right.
And if that's the case, they're not allowed due process just because of a hunch, So this is not only going to happen to undocumented immigrants, but if they wanted to, let's play it out. If they think that you're undocumented, even though you're white or so forth, you got a tan, whatever, they're going to haul you off. You're going to say, I want to see an attorney. No, you don't have to, because I have a hunch that you are undocumented. You have no legal recourse. So these are the things that are happening. Immigrants are being attacked first. But in the end of the day, if we do not protect the undocumented immigrant community, it's going to be us next. We need to
That's
be.
right. That's very well said, Joe. The Farmers Union has advocated for some common sense immigration reform that values agriculture workers. And these raids all make the steps to move to a more common sense solution all the harder. And we're moving farther away from real solutions with this. So we are so grateful that you're here working on behalf of farm workers here in Iowa and the Latino community in Iowa. So thank you so much for being here. We will indeed make sure people are aware of how they can get involved. And this is a super opportunity for us to share information with folks. And we know that your time is extremely important, extremely busy, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day for us.
All right. Thank you very much. And please call your member of Congress right away. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joe. This has been the Iowa Farmers Union Lunch and Learn series. We are so grateful that we can provide this service to our members. It is a way that we can inform, way we can have discussion, and the way we can learn how to act to make a real difference. So if you haven't had a chance to join the Iowa Farmers Union yet, do so today. We know that we can be stronger when we work together. So please consider joining the Farmers Union today. Also, we gave some updates of some upcoming Farmers Union activities. So check out those opportunities with the links in the chat, including some sign up for some fantastic things going on at the Iowa State Fair. Don't forget, this weekend is Iowa Farmers Union Day at the ballpark at the iCubs. Let us know if you'd like to join there. There's a couple spaces available, and we'd love to have all of our spaces filled. Also, we know that that you are learning about the Iowa Farmers Union Barn Party Potluck. And what a fantastic opportunity that is to get together at the end of July. So check out the link to all of those chats, in all those links in the chat as we go through the beginning of July here. So thank you, Christina, for pulling this together. We are so grateful that we're able to put this together, but it only happens through the hard work of the Farmers Union staff. And Christina, you do a fantastic job working with all of us. So thank you again.
Thanks, Aaron. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye-bye.